All right, sorry, we had a cat interruption
Sure.
there. Okay, you were saying.
So in about November or December, when I had this long conversation with one of the people in the news business in Turkey, was saying this that might be not exactly the story what we have been hearing. Then I decided for sure that I really am going to go into Syria. At least I'm going to try. And we explored different options. I thought about sneaking in. There are oppositions in do that from Jordan or Hatay and I thought about just going in border in from Antep, and then finally we decided that.
When you say we, who are you talking to exactly?
I have been talking to different Syrian groups in outside of the country. I never met them, but we have been talking to in different social uh, sites.
Can you say which groups exactly they are, and so that other people can
Sure.
figure out?
These are the people who are Syrian Americans in the US who have regular jobs, daily jobs. Some of them migrated to the US 10 years, 15 years ago. Some of them just, last year, a couple of years ago. So they created these local Syrian American associations and groups, and they all connected with the opposition inside that basically on the ground trying to gear the revolution. So I met a few of them through Twitter and a couple other friends, and I asked them, I want to go, can you help? I asked several different groups, and finally one group said that we can help you connect with the people inside.
Which group was this?
It is they called Syrian American expats group. Uh, so this is the I don't think they did this kind of a official, that they have any kind of association. They tie to different groups, these local community groups that connect with with the opposition in Syria. But once we got serious that I am ready to go, that network uh, became even bigger. 10, 15, 20 people from Abu Dhabi to Jordan to they all have different logistic and they know different people. And
What was your sense about why they wanted to help you? Did they feel it was just important that someone Turkish go and report back on this?
Not Turkish.
Right.
They just want to help journalists to go in. Some of the journalists made it inside that through official, very rare, journalist visa. But when you go through official visa, you have to, Syrian regime gives you a couple of people always follow you, and it's really hard to see the picture outside of Damascus. And when you go, if a couple of cars come in with you, regime forces, nobody is going to talk to you, seeing or So it's very hard to do in those conditions. So they want to have basically undercover journalism, and finally, after exploring a few different stories, we one of them said, oh, "How about you are a restaurant owner and you or with manager you want to explore shawarma business, which is shawarma." So we decided on that, and it was a risk, uh, but you know I thought I can take the risk, and it took some time. They asked quite a few questions in the beginning, but finally,
Who asked quite a few questions?
in the airport.
Right.
Yeah, first officer at gate, and then he called another officer. They started try to ask a question. They had really bad English, and then they found someone who can speak very little Turkish, very bad Turkish, but still.
Do you speak any Arabic?
Very little,
Right.
very little. But I can understand a little bit, but I cannot speak. So uh, this Turkish guy, the person who can speak little Turkish, came to me, and twice he told me, after talking to I don't know, commander or whatever, some military guy.
Yeah.
With I think 2 stars, or I don't remember exactly. Twice they said, in a very bad Turkish, that köy yok, which is you're not gonna get in the country. The third time I have a hotel reservation paper just a day ago, and when I showed these two different papers, one of them Dedeman, a Turkish hotel, which is one of the best hotels in Damascus. When they saw these papers, for somehow they were convinced that I am really there for business, and I'm just gonna stay there for a week. I had a business suit that they saw. I think it was kind of convincing. Another layered, and then they said, "Okay, go." And then I got in.
I asked you about this yesterday, but I think
Mhm.
this is so anomalous that it bears repeating. You showed up with a Turkish passport, which has a lot of entry and exit stamps for the United States.
Yes.
And a name which, if you put your name into Google, immediately it shows up that you're a journalist who's been covering this issue for a long time.
And I've been writing very harsh stuff on Assad regime, very harsh.
Yeah,
in English. Yeah.
This should be known to anyone who is trying to keep hostile journalists out of the country. And yet you show up with some story about opening a shawarma restaurant.
Yeah.
And they say, well, okay.
Look, when the plane landed, I swear to God, I was like, you know what, this was wrong. I mean, this is never going to fly. This is never going to work. And basically, they are going to now handcuff me. But since I am here, let's go. So I got in. I thought about that Google thing, that at least they are going to Google me right there. And when I arrived, gate officer, I saw one computer very dusty. Apparently, they haven't used that computer for quite a while. And so the young couple of officers asked me questions, and then they took me back to that in front of the commander and Turkish kind of a translator. And I thought, when I was walking, I saw different rooms, and very, look really bad, just in room right there. So I was thinking they're just gonna get me inside one of these rooms, and nobody's going to ever hear about me. Because they didn't issue any kind of visa yet. They still nobody. I'm in the flight, but anyway, so. We were just standing in front of other people are coming in. We stood there for about 15-20 minutes. They came, asked 5 minutes, different questions. They left, and then they came back, asked again. And then they said no twice. And then again they came. I was still waiting with my backpack and my suit. And third time, I remembered that I have a reservation. And they said, okay, yallah. And